Many years ago, my wife went on a month-long business trip from May 18th to June 16th, accompanied by a fairly large group of colleagues. We stayed in touch daily through WhatsApp. Our conversations were usually routine. How are you? Is everything okay with the kids? What did you do today? Nothing out of the ordinary. However, on June 6th, our conversation took a different turn. After the usual, how are you? She said. She, ZS, a colleague from work, also on the trip, has been flirting with me very intensely, but I set him straight. Me? Set him straight? What do you mean? She. I told him there was no chance for anything because I'm married to you. Me. Okay, things like this happen. Business trips, long separations. What matters is that you made it clear to him. That was the end of the conversation, and I didn't think much of it at the time. When she returned home, the bus from the airport stopped right in front of our house. She stepped out, and I was thrilled to see her again. But just as she got off, ZS followed. He retrieved her luggage from the bus's compartment and carried it to her. She was speechless. As the bus drove away, I asked her, "Is that what you meant by setting him straight?" She didn't respond. At home, she swore she had no idea why he did that in front of me, insisted that nothing had happened during the trip, and claimed she never encouraged him in any way. I was furious, and the feeling lingered. I had my suspicions, but there was no concrete evidence. She had a habit of writing her thoughts on LiveJournal and sharing them with online friends. I was one of those friends and had read about her experiences during the business trip, but nothing seemed suspicious. Of course, different privacy settings allowed her to control who could see what. Recently, she was writing something on LiveJournal, but had to step out unexpectedly. She left the page open and hadn't logged out. I decided to take the opportunity to see if there was anything she had hidden from me. I went straight to the dates of her business trip and stopped at May 29th, about a week before our conversation. There, I found the following entry. I wonder if I could survive cheating? Not my husband's. I stopped caring a long time ago. But if I were the one to give in to temptation, to stumble on the edge of this abyss I walk along almost daily, I don't think I would survive the fall. Then again, what can a person learn to live with? After reading that post on LiveJournal, I felt a deep chill inside me. Those words, they weren't just innocent musings. It was a confession, encrypted in beautiful language. I knew the truth was close, and I had to find it. I decided not to start a scandal right away. I wanted to be sure. I wanted to understand exactly what had happened. I began observing her behavior, paying attention to the smallest details. Soon, they started forming a picture I didn't like. She frequently looked at her phone and hid the screen whenever I entered the room. Her schedule began to include sudden meetups with friends that had never been so frequent before. She became colder, less interested in our family, and responded to any questions with irritation or avoidance. I decided to check her phone, but knew she wouldn't just give it to me. Waiting for an opportunity would take too long, so I used the backup data that was automatically stored in her cloud storage. I knew the password, but I had never used this access before. Now, I had a reason. When I entered the message archive, it took me less than 5 minutes to find what I was looking for. Her correspondence with ZS was not just friendly. There were too many ambiguous phrases, and some messages left no doubt at all. They exchanged words full of hints, discussed their time together during the business trip. And most importantly, there were photos. At first, innocent ones, selfies, views from the hotel window. But then I saw them. Photos taken in the hotel room. Her, in a robe, with her hair down. Him, standing nearby, too close, too relaxed. And finally, pictures that left no room for doubt. Her in his arms, lips too close, hands too bold. I don't know how long I stared at those images. My mind went blank. My heart pounded in my throat, and my breathing became shallow. I hoped I was wrong, that this was some kind of cruel joke, but the screen before me said otherwise. I made copies, saved them on a flash drive and in separate cloud storage. I didn't yet know exactly how I would use them, but I felt I would need the evidence. The next morning, I behaved as usual. Breakfast, small talk, routine. She had no idea that I already knew everything. But I didn't want a conversation at the kitchen table. I wanted her to end this story herself. I waited for the moment when she was once again sitting on the couch with her phone, typing a message. I walked over and simply asked, "How's CS? Haven't seen each other in a while?" She flinched, just for a fraction of a second. But I noticed. Her gaze became tense. "What do you mean?" She asked, trying to smile. I sat down across from her and looked into her eyes. About your business trip. About how you set him on the right path. About what really happened. She froze. I felt like she was deciding in that moment to keep lying or to confess. She chose the former. I don't know what you're talking about. I took out my phone, opened the saved pictures, and without a word, placed it in front of her. A moment of silence. Her face changed. Her lips trembled slightly, her fingers clenched into a fist. You hacked my phone? She whispered. That's what you're worried about right now? She averted her gaze, then looked back at me. There were so many emotions in her eyes, but remorse wasn't one of them. Instead, I saw fear, anger, and perhaps even relief that she no longer had to hide. You wanted the truth? Fine. Yes, something happened between us, but that doesn't mean I don't love you. Her voice trembled, but not from regret. It just happened. We were far from home, working hard, had a little to drink. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Everything became clear. It just happened? That's how you put it? Like it was some accidental mistake? You had the choice and the time to stop. You didn't just cheat on me. You betrayed our trust. She turned away, gritting her teeth. I could see she wanted to say something else, but the words got stuck in her throat. How long have you not loved me? I asked calmly. She flinched. What? You wrote that you haven't cared about whether I cheat for a long time. That means your feelings faded long ago. Just tell the truth. She covered her face with her hands. I saw her shoulders tremble, but I couldn't tell if she was crying out of guilt or simply from the realization that her secret was out. I stood up. We need time to figure out what happens next. But one thing I know for sure, I can't live in this lie anymore. I left the room, leaving her alone. I needed to think about what to do next, about whether I could forgive, about how to live with this, if I even could.